Let me ask you something. Have you ever stolen anything?
Yeah. One time I did. I was 8 or 9 years old. I was at a drive-in theater, the same drive-in theater that I saw Home Alone in and Jurassic Park. I can't remember what movie we were watching, but I went up to the concession stands and I grabbed a Squeeze-It bottle and I walked up to the concession stand to pay for it. And I saw a couple of like fireballs, the little like cinnamon hot candy jawbreaker thing or whatever. I saw those on the counter, grabbed a couple of those and put them there. I thought the cashier had seen the Squeeze-It bottle in my hand and she hadn't. So she said 20 cents. And I was like, wow, that's really cheap for a couple fireballs and a Squeeze-It bottle. And I walked out with both of them, having paid $1. And then I got back to the van and I realized, oh, I didn't pay for the Squeeze-It bottle. I'm a criminal. And I remember just staying awake that entire night thinking the police were going to come for me. And then to make matters worse, that drive-in closed down like 2 years later. And I was certain that my theft of that bottle was what caused it.
They were hanging.
Yeah.
They were on the brink.
Yeah.
They needed to sell that Squeeze-It.
So, yeah. How about you?
Oh boy. Many, many years ago, there was a bar that I used to frequent, and it had a pull tabs machine. Are you familiar with pull tabs?
No.
This is a lottery game. And boy, I'm nervous even revealing this since it's, the state and all that.
The feds are probably going to be after you.
Well, I haven't even said the story.
We'll see.
They're like scratch off lottery tickets. Okay. But they're made out of like a thicker cardboard and they just have these little windows on the back that you tear off and they reveal your prize. So they work the same way as a scratch off, but instead of scratching off some foil, you just tear off the paper. And the cool thing about pull tabs, at least it used to be when I was playing, you could buy 50-cent pull tabs. It's the cheapest you can play the lotto.
Yeah.
So you buy a bunch of them, put a $5 bill in and, get 10 pull tabs and kill some time.
Yeah.
There was this machine for a period of time at this bar I used to go to where if you just smash that button, if you just like you were playing Street Fighter on it, you could put in $1 and it would spit out like 12 pull tabs. So really helps your odds. So
you did that for a few years.
Well, it didn't work for a few years, but it worked for a brief period of time. I feel like that's a crime of opportunity.
Yeah.
I would never have knocked over a machine or something, but I did it accidentally the first time.
Yeah.
I pressed it a few times and it gave me more than I expected. So really, is that my fault?
No.
It sounds like somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
It's my opportunity.
They should have known that you were going to do that if you saw it. You couldn't help yourself.
It's at a bar for crying out loud.
I know. Yeah.
But that's probably the only time I ever stole in my entire life.
I have always thought of stealing as like the scariest crime. Like I'm not going to ever steal anything. Like that's a real crime. I find out in my mid-20s that most of my closest friends were thieves. Like they were
shoplifters, regularly bank robbers.
Regularly, not bank robbers, but shoplifters. Regularly.
What if you found out that all of your friends were bank robbers, though? Like, wait, what?
Why didn't you let me in on this?
Guys?
Why couldn't I be a part of this? I mean, I would have refused and I would have turned you in, but why didn't you tell me about it?
Oh, we're on. We are back. We're back to the Long Road Home Alone. Joey Z, Jimmy here.
I'm here for as long as we're allowed to be here.
Me too. Our advocate Bill Sikorsky he just popped his head in. He's just down here, seeing how it was going. I think conducting a little business downtown. But good to see him. Glad to see him pop in. Huge supporter of the show. And honestly, we couldn't do it without him. So
can't say enough good things about Bill Sikorsky.
He's a mensch.
I can say enough bad things about Jerry Novak and the milk lobby of Wisconsin.
Whoa, yikes. Okay. Yeah. Well, look, everybody has their Their issues in business or whatever. I don't know if we need to name names, but
And Dan Glabensky.
okay. Well, suffice it to say, Bill, big supporter of the show.
Only
Helps
advocate at the Sheboygan Chamber of Commerce. I want to put that out there. Thanks a lot, Sheboygan Chamber of Commerce.
So thanks to Bill.
What's the episode
Again,
about? I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Moving right along. Welcome back. Good to be back.
Long Road Home Alone.
Here we go.
I'm
Here we go
so
again.
happy to be here.
Yeah, that's right. We are on the air, so let's make the most of our time that we have here today. Big topic, big topics to cover. One of the biggest, honestly, and that is the American Dental Association. Plays a big role in this film, don't you think?
It does. Kevin would not have stolen a toothbrush had it not been for the American Dental Association. So think about that next time you buy a toothbrush.
And had he not stolen a toothbrush, he probably would have called the police and robbed us of the opportunity to see him play all these hilarious pranks on the Wet Bandits.
I've got to imagine that if Kevin hadn't stolen that toothbrush, he would have called the cops beforehand and said, let's set up a sting. These guys are robbing my neighborhood, and I'm going to give them to you on a platter.
Exactly.
But he couldn't do that because he thought he was one of them.
Exactly. It's criminal against criminal. He's fully in the underworld now.
And
it's dog eat dog. It's fight for yourself.
It all starts at the pharmacy. Old man Marley, he's there too, and maybe he's part of the underworld as well.
What do you think? Not to immediately get derailed, but what's Marley buying at the pharmacy? More gauze,
Band-Aids, I think. Yeah, probably some kind of disinfectant, I would assume.
Misotracin.
Well, he's got that injury on his hand because when he slams his hand on the counter next to Kevin, which I've said it before, but I don't know. If you're just trying to be a nice neighborly man, and you're just saying hello to,
he could have done it better.
Could have done it better.
He's in pain. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's having a bad day.
He's bleeding out. Maybe he's hypoglycemic.
You think is
that the right word? Am I thinking of a different disorder?
Are you thinking of anemic?
Anemic. That's what it is. Thanks.
Sure, but he might be hypoglycemic too. I don't want to discount that as a possibility.
Could also be buying salt for his salt shaker trash can.
He could, but he's approaching the counter without anything big in his hands.
Yeah,
I think he has Band-Aids, right? Is it Band-Aids or do we not know?
Yeah, he does have Band-Aids.
No, this is a really good trivia question. We ought to know.
He grabs the Band-Aids, brings them up to the counter, and then slams his hand down. Doesn't wait in line. Want to point that out. You know, probably also why Kevin's pretty alerted by his presence.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, he doesn't like being outside in the daytime.
Yeah.
I think he's...
because people are talking about him.
Right.
Anytime he's out at the pharmacy, anytime he's downtown Winnetka, everyone's like, there's the South Bend Shovel Slayer, better watch out.
And he's pretty pasty and translucent too, so he probably doesn't, his eyes hurt while he's out here. He'd rather be home with the shades drawn.
I tell you this too, he's outside with blood on his hands. People are going to look at that.
He has literal blood on his hands.
They're not going to think I injured my hand while I was shoveling the snow for my neighborhood.
Helping the neighborhood.
Blood is on my hands because I murdered someone.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah. At it again.
Yeah.
So ADA, American Dental Association, can you please find out? That's what Kevin says. And, I thought, well, yeah, I can please find out.
What does the ADA do?
The ADA is the association by dentists, for consumers that essentially approve consumer dental goods. They sign off on it. They go, yes, this toothpaste or this toothbrush or this floss or this water pick or whatever effectively do what this tool is intended to do. It's got enough fluoride or the bristles are right or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically the OSHA of the dental industry, almost.
Well, except it's not a government agency.
Oh, that's true.
And it's not a regulation. It's not a required regulation. It's just sort of like a seal of approval.
Good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays, you can go to mouthhealthy.org for a list of ADA approved consumer goods, and also just for goods, for strategies for a healthy mouth, for your good dental health.
If you ever go to a store and you are trying to buy a toothbrush and it doesn't say it's approved by the ADA, maybe this website could help you with that situation.
Yeah. Nowadays, and in 1989, 90, this wasn't an option, as we know. But nowadays, most people gonna have a phone in their pocket, access to the internet. You'd be able to pull that out, go to http://www.mouthhealthy, that's mouthhealthy.org, and you'll find out more.
Nice.
And I think it's, we're living in the future.
Let me ask you something. Speaking of that pharmacy scene, what do you think of these three characters we're introduced to? We've got Herb, who is probably the manager.
The manager.
The day manager.
Yeah.
You've got Jimmy, proudly stock boy.
Yeah, stock boy, bag boy.
And unnamed cashier.
Right.
So most of our interactions are with the cashier, who, I don't know, she seems pretty gracious when Kevin walks up and is super demanding.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, hi, sweetie."
Yeah. How can I help you? She seems a little.
Let me extend the same courtesy to this child as I would any other customer waltzing in here.
Yeah, I think she seems a little off-put that it is a kid in a pharmacy. Like if a kid is going to walk by himself into a store, probably not a pharmacy, maybe a candy store, toy store, or something like that. But yeah. And then he walks up and asks, "Is this approved by the American Dental Association?" And she's flustered.
It doesn't say, hon.
Yeah. And then she has to ask her manager to come over. I love this moment because she is not taking it seriously. I get the sense anyway. Like this kid is just being a bother.
Right.
And when Herb comes over, it feels like he takes the question a little more seriously than she wanted. He seems alarmed when he's asked, "Is this approved by the American Dental Association or not?"
Oh, I completely disagree.
Really?
I think
you think he's aloof.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Herb is completely dismissive of it. I mean, it seems like the question is just so immaterial that he's just like, "I have no idea."
I didn't.
The subtext being, what the hell difference does it make?
I didn't take it that way. When I saw him say it, when he says, "I don't know," it feels very much like I should know, but I don't know. I don't know why I took it that way.
I never read it that way. I've always thought that Herb is just like, for crying out loud.
Yes.
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. How could I possibly know that?
How may I help you?
Is this toothbrush approved by the American Dental Association?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't say, hon.
Can you please find out?
Herb,
Yeah?
I got a question here about a toothbrush.
I just think it's hilarious. We know that Kevin is a precocious kid, but I think it's hilarious that he has the ADA in his mind as something that's important. And I don't know if he's screwing with the staff or not. I can't imagine he actually cares.
Where does this come from? Did he hear his mom on the phone talking to one of her friends about ADA approved toothbrushes?
Or a commercial that said 4 out of 5 dentists or whatever.
I can't even.
Why an 8-year-old knows about the ADA and ADA approval and what that even means is beyond me, but I love it.
I've got to imagine that Kevin has never seen the packaging for any of his toothbrushes.
Right.
It's like his mom bought them for him and they just showed up in the bathroom.
Right. Funny enough, in Uncle Buck, Macaulay Culkin's character only pretends to brush his teeth.
He doesn't
want to brush his teeth at all. And Uncle Buck knows all about it.
How were you as far as dental hygiene goes as a kid? Did you resist it, or was that a pretty regular part of your life? Did you brush your teeth every morning and night?
Well, I'm much better at it now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Me too.
As a kid, I was indifferent about it, but my parents did a pretty good job of reminding us kids, I'll tell you what I was not doing though, was flossing.
Yeah.
As a kid, and I floss now. I floss all the time now.
Every
Constantly,
day?
all the time. I floss every day.
You're not supposed to floss more than once a day, though.
I floss
do damage to your gums.
15 times a day.
Oh, my goodness.
I floss.
The ADA would not approve of that.
No, I floss not literally every day, probably 5 days a week.
My dental hygienist actually did talk me into, okay, you got some deep pockets here and you just floss to take care of it. And now I get to the point, too, where I don't know, if you don't brush your teeth for so long, it feels like your mouth has just got this weird grunginess to it.
Oh, yeah.
I feel the same way when I don't floss.
Yeah.
After like 2 or 3 days, it's like, oh, I really need to floss.
Kids, for some reason, are just oblivious to what's now obvious discomfort of dirtiness or, bad hygiene as an adult. Kids, it's just like they don't care if they have dirt on their hands, on their face, if their breath smells bad, if they went swimming in a muck pit. They don't want to take a shower. I used to be like that, but I don't relate to it anymore.
Yeah, in general, I think children are just filthy creatures altogether. So what does it matter if their teeth are clean too? I mean,
and if they're the baby teeth, they're going to fall out anyway.
Exactly. You don't even need to care about why do you brush teeth that are just going to fall out of your head in the next 3 or 4 years? What's the point there? Wasted effort.
I want to say that just for the record, this show is not ADA approved, and I don't want to give anyone the impression that it is.
It isn't. You should brush your teeth at least twice a day and floss once a day. And if you do that, dentists say that your teeth won't fall out of your head. Unless you get into a bar fight.
Well, and then it really doesn't matter if you'd brush your teeth every day or not.
Yeah. ADA approved bar fight. Have you ever seen the movie House Guest?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the movie House Guest.
How many times have you seen it?
Oh, probably twice. Twice.
This one feels very much like Steel for me. I saw House Guest way too many times. The Tom Arnold McHale's Navy too. They're just two films that I think now if I watch them, I'm like, why am I even spending my time on this? But I loved them when I was a kid. House Guest in particular, the first time I saw that, I went over to my pastor's house. We were watching it with his family. And there was this point in the movie, because Sinbad is pretending to be a dentist.
Right.
It's a case of mistaken identity, sort of.
Does he owe like a gambling debt or something?
And he's like trying to hide out with this family who is actually friends with a dentist,
right?
But it's this college friend that
Phil Hartman's college friend. He hasn't seen him in forever.
Hasn't seen in years. So Sinbad is pretending to be a masterclass dentist in House Guest.
Right.
And he's just over at this house. It's a family that's very dysfunctional. And I think over the course of the film, Sinbad proves to do similar to what Uncle Buck does. He deals with each character one in turn and then finds out what their problems are and actually makes them a much stronger unit by the end of the film.
Is Phil Hartman also a dentist?
No.
Okay.
He's not. He's
just undergrad
he's like a successful businessman or something.
Because there are also, it's a lifestyle. It's sort of like a lifestyle of relative affluence that Sinbad's character aspires to, too. So they sort of he likes being around them. He sort of he's envious of this sort of family unit that Phil Hartman has.
Yeah. Midway through the movie, though, Sinbad has to put his dental skills to the test. They're at a golf club or something, and somebody has a tooth knocked out of place during the golfing. And so going back to the pastor and his family, the first time I watched this was with them, and the scene where Sinbad has to perform an extraction on this guy who has an injury, it was one of the the funniest scenes I'd ever seen in my young life. And it starts out with Sinbad trying to sanitize his hands, and instead he applies a topical anesthetic. And so his hands are completely numb while he's trying to perform this extraction as somebody who's not a dentist. Everybody in the room was just cracking up, and the pastor's youngest son thought it was so funny that he had to rewind it. And as he rewinded it, the pastor was like, no, don't do that. And then when he did, like, the kid pressed play, and he's like, it doesn't matter now. You ruined the movie.
Wow. Your pastor sounds like a dick.
Well, I mean, he was a children's pastor, so.
Even worse. Wow.
The idea of
ruined it?
You ruined the movie.
You ruined the movie?
And then the kid went off and cried. And then the rest of us continued to enjoy House Guest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what a jerk.
Shameless product placement in that film. McDonald's plays
right.
McDonald's plays a huge role in that film because he not only is he posing as a dentist, he's posing as a vegetarian dentist. Right. And Sinbad's character has an addiction to McDonald's specifically.
That's right. When you first meet him, he's eating McDonald's, right?
Yeah. Yep. And midway through the movie, Phil Hartman and him are sitting on a bridge, and Phil Hartman's like, I don't know how you could resist a thick, juicy Big Mac like this. And then Sinbad
his mouth is just watering.
Sinbad grabs the Big Mac and just starts mowing it down. He's like, I'm sorry, don't judge me.
Another movie with prominent McDonald's placement, Richie Rich.
I thought you were going to say Mac and Me.
Well, I say Rich. Yeah, that one too. I say Richie Rich, because Macaulay Culkin.
Richie Rich, he has a McDonald's in his basement. He's part of the 1%, and he has a McDonald's in his basement. You're a family of 3. I mean, how many meals is this McDonald's staff preparing for you a day? I got to imagine.
And the staff
that's a weekend or something. Nope, they're not eating that stuff every day.
The staff is presented in the exact way that staff in McDonald's commercials in the 90s were always presented. Just sort of like this
glazed look. I'm so glad to be a part of McDonald's.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order?
We all worship Ronald McDonald here. Speaking of McDonald's,
Mickey D's.
I remember the specific moment when I decided Happy Meals weren't for me anymore. And it was when I saw this commercial that McDonald's did where the kid is deciding between the Big Mac meal and the Happy Meal. And then he decides Big Mac. And that's the crossover. I'm now an adult. I'm no longer doing Happy Meals. I'm doing the Big Mac.
And that worked on you?
Yeah, from then on. This was also around the time...
You're like, I'm about that kid's age. Or were you like, I'm like 8 years older than that kid?
I think I mainly just thought I want to feel fed when I eat a McDonald's meal. And so, yeah, I switched to either fish fillet or crispy chicken sandwich or something like that.
I want to feel sick when I eat a McDonald's meal.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I haven't gotten my grim satisfaction from a McDonald's meal unless I'm like, oh. You know the feeling?
No. No,
I love this stuff.
Actually,
Makes me feel great.
I will say, out of the approaching middle age at this point, I feel like McDonald's is one of the few fast food restaurants that I can still eat and not feel like crap after I eat it. Unless I eat their breakfast. I do not like McDonald's breakfast.
Okay. Whose breakfast do you like? Or do you not like any of them?
I really just don't like breakfast in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if I can just skip breakfast.
Avoid it at all costs.
Do you remember the Arch Deluxe or the Big and Tasty?
Okay. Well, those are both names. Those are both product names that ring a bell, but I don't think I ever had. What was the Arch Deluxe?
I don't remember what the Arch Deluxe was. I know the Big and Tasty was like an early 2000s knockoff of the Whopper. They basically made a quarter pounder, but instead of putting ketchup and mustard on it, they put
like mayo.
ketchup and mayo
Yeah.
on it, and then made it more like what the Whopper tastes like, and that was the big and tasty. I
see.
don't know what the Arch Deluxe was, and then Big Mac's famed acclaim is the Thousand Island dressing sauce. That's
and then the middle bun.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you get 2 pieces of meat. I've made several Big Macs. I'm a professional.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
The last time that they had the McRib, I saw a sign that said, "Get the McRib, it may be your last." And I was like, you have to know what you've just done. Like,
Yeah, no, it's just-
why would you say that?
It's McDonald's version of putting their sandwiches in the Disney vault. You know,
Yeah,
like
right.
we're only going to offer this for this period of time, and then it's going back into the vault.
Exactly.
And they mean it
But I just-
figuratively and literally.
I think that maybe your last makes it sound like maybe you'll die.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll kill you. It sounds like a veiled threat, honestly.
I'm trying to think of like other films that just have bad product placement similar to House Guest. I feel like McDonald's was a big one. In the 90s, you had not only House Guest, but you had Harry and the Hendersons. There's a big scene where Bigfoot basically eats a fish fillet sandwich. They're feeding Sasquatch McDonald's. You've got the Batman Forever advertisements.
Yeah.
Where Alfred's like, "Can I make you a sandwich?" And then Val Kilmer's like, "I'll get drive-through."
Yeah.
And then you've got the live action Flintstones. You've got Big Daddy. Big Daddy also features a scene where somebody tries to go to McDonald's and they just can't get what they want. And then Heavyweights as well. This one makes no sense to me because in Heavyweights, these kids are going off campus, getting McDonald's, and then stowing them in a hollowed out trunk of a dead tree or something like that. McDonald's is done after 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't eat McDonald's after 15 minutes and feel in any way satisfied.
They're desperate.
Yeah.
They're desperate. I think like with McDonald's, I have often thought that any sort of attention, including bad attention, is good attention. I realized this for myself when I saw the Super Size Me, quote unquote, documentary, the sensationalized, like nonfiction movie thing.
Yeah.
And they're really kind of giving McDonald's the business in this movie. And halfway through, I was like, I need McDonald's. I have such a craving for McDonald's. How many people immediately went and got McDonald's after seeing that movie?
I got to tell you,
I think it stimulates that little, they put something that's addictive in their food.
every time I watch House Guest, I've gotten McDonald's afterward because Sinbad sold it that well.
The stuff sells itself.
Yeah.
You just need that reminder sometimes.
Yep.
I want to point out this show is not sponsored by McDonald's.
Yeah.
But if they want it to be, it can and it will be.
And we're both going to go get McDonald's right after this recording
100%.
at 5 a.m, even
Yeah.
though I don't like McDonald's breakfast.
We'll have to do it.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it.
What's your favorite Sinbad film?
First Kid.
First Kid is mine as well. What are
First
the other Sinbad films that you have? Jingle All the Way.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big Christmas film. First Kid and I think House Guest. Those are probably the 3 big films. He was in A Different World, the show, and then some football movie. But First Kid, I remember loving when I was a kid.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I feel like I should watch it again. And
Yeah.
Timothy Busfield is the bad guy. He's the Secret Service agent gone rogue.
Yep. Also, Zachary Ty Bryan's in it.
Right. He's the bully.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the kid gets in the fight with
With Zachary Ty Bryan.
Zachary Ty Bryant.
Yeah.
And
Punches
then-
him right in the face. Bill, and then they
then
take him
Sinbad
to
goes,
They take him to Bill Cobb's boxing studio or whatever. And
Once he gets in the fight at the big dance,
Yeah.
he grabs the kid and he's like, "What'd I teach you about fighting?" And he goes, "Everything." That's right. That's right.
And then the Secret Service busts in and
Yeah.
like, all right, you're fired, Sinbad. He's from Benton Harbor, just across the pond.
Just across the pond from us.
You know
yeah,
who-
him and Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson's also from Benton Harbor. I know most people know Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters. My Ernie Hudson film is Congo. And I tell you what, I love Ernie Hudson in Congo. He's my favorite part of it.
I love Ernie Hudson in everything.
Yeah.
I think he's great. My favorite Ernie Hudson film is The Substitute.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you got to see it.
Yeah.
You have got to see it. Tom Berenger.
I like Tom Berenger.
And Ernie Hudson is the principal of the school, but he's also like the head of the crime syndicate, and he's running drugs through the school with the wayward kids. He's so good.
Yeah.
Love Ernie Hudson.
I'll check him out.
I know he's listening to the show. I know he listens to the show. So Ernie, just hats off.
Ernie Hudson, thanks.
Thanks.
You like Congo? It's Frank Marshall film. One of the few films he's directed.
No. I don't. I don't like Congo. I don't like Congo. I can see how it's entertaining in a really stupid way, but I don't think it's a good movie, and I don't. I can't say I like it.
That's one of those films I have a hard time judging impartially because there's so much nostalgia appeal for it.
That was one of your movies as a kid.
And it felt like a PG-13 that should have been an R because there's some pretty
they get away with some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, Bruce Campbell's in the first scene, and you get like somebody tosses a dismembered eye at him, and it's like pretty graphic.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it felt very much like I was seeing something that, like, you know, I wasn't allowed to see just a few years ago. On top of that, you could get all of the toys for Congo on clearance at KB Toys. I got all of those, like every single toy that was available for Congo, apart from whatever vehicles they had.
Yeah.
I had those toys.
Oh, hon, you pay for that here. Oh, wait, son, you have to pay for that toothbrush. Son? Hey! Jimmy, stop that boy!
Question for you. Are dentists required to take the Hippocratic Oath?
DDS, Doctor of Dental Science. Boy, it's a great question. Yeah. I'm safe bet is yes.
Do no harm.
Safe bet is yes, but I don't know.
Do no harm. Well, our plastic surgeons also required to take the Hippocratic Oath. Probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're MDs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do no harm, plastic surgeons. Remember that.
It's interpretive.
Yeah.
What, do you think dentists do harm? More harm than good?
No.
Oh?
I don't think so.
Did you ever see The Dentist?
No.
The film?
A film about the dentist?
The Dentist? It's a horror movie?
No.
1990, maybe?
There's some...
I think it's...
There's some comedy with starring Steve Martin. I think it's maybe called Novocaine, or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Interestingly,
It's like
he's also a dentist in Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't seen it because it's a musical, and I hate musicals. What's
Novocaine? I never saw that one, but I know what you're talking about.
I didn't see it either. Recommended by a friend. Never checked it out though.
Yeah.
What's the worst dental procedure you've ever had?
Root canal.
Yeah. Root canal.
Root canal and a crown.
Is it as bad as they say it is, the root canal? Like, what is it? They basically take some piece of dental tool that's approved by the ADA and just
I hope it's approved.
Just grind up the nerve underneath the tooth and then just put a dead tooth over it, like a fake tooth.
Like a marble, yeah. Like smooth like a marble. It didn't hurt. The pain was was before the nerve in the tooth died. And I mean, that was searing pain. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The procedure, it was just really arduous for me. There's no pain, but it's like they got to put this big, weird, like prophylactic thing over your mouth, and then they're in your mouth with all this stuff, and it takes a long time, and your entire mouth is numb, and it's really uncomfortable, and it made me nervous.
Yeah. Made
me nervous.
Did you have
But I don't go for the gas because I don't do drugs.
Oh. I went for the gas the last time. I got a couple teeth extracted. Wisdom teeth, I think. I've had all my wisdom teeth extracted. The bottom ones, they put me out for because I requested it. I would have requested it for the top ones, but they didn't offer. So they just gave me the gas. And and I'm really glad I got the gas.
Yeah.
I remember while he was like basically applying a pair of pliers to my teeth, and telling me the tooth fairy's going to come early. And I don't know, they basically just...
That's what the dentist said?
Yeah.
That sounds like a line out of a movie.
I know. Like they basically just take these pair of pliers and then just wrench your tooth out of your mouth. There's no like precision to it. I very much felt like he was just changing a car tire, only all that pressure was being applied to my tooth.
Same. I got a wisdom tooth extracted one time, and he just locked those pliers onto it.
Yeah.
And homeboy put his foot on the armrest of the dental chair for leverage, and pulled that thing out of my mouth. And I was like, this feels like some frontier dentistry.
I
but
know.
It came out.
Probably
it worked.
Yeah, I guess it's just very much a Band-Aid situation. Do it as quick as you can. Just...
Now, can you imagine being in dental school and needing to do that procedure, which is, I mean, I guess by all accounts, just a simple extraction for the first time?
I would
you're
want to do
going to rip a molar out of somebody's skull.
Yeah.
Right now. They're wide awake.
Yeah.
Do it.
The other thing I want to think about too is that if there were no anesthetics applied, this is a popular form of torture across the world.
It kills. It kills people. The torturers, they love it. It's a mainstay. You really should see The Dentist. It's grotesque.
My teeth are that bad.
It's you gotta go, man. This is the intervention. No, The Dentist, the movie. It's grotesque, but there are boobs. Can I say that? There are boobs in it.
Breasts.
There are breasts.
There is nudity.
There is nudity in it, boy. I saw it when I was 12 on HBO, and I was like, this movie rocks.
Yeah.
It's gross though.
Speaking of dentists,
it's a horror movie.
What do you know about the three characters in the pharmacy when Kevin walks up to ask if the toothbrush is approved by the ADA? These three actors that are in this scene in Home Alone.
Yeah.
You know anything about them?
No, not a thing. I hope you do.
They're Chicagoan actors.
Yeah.
And Jim Ortlieb plays Herb, and the actress is Ann Whitney, and both of them are reunited in another Chicagoan film called Chain Reaction.
Oh,
starring Keanu
Reeves and Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
Which is like it's like
what is that? Like the film is basically about turning water into energy, essentially.
Well, yeah, they're trying to. They have successfully figured out a sustained fusion reaction.
That's right.
Right. They work in this lab in like north side of Chicago or something, and they figured out fusion.
Yes.
But
it causes a chain reaction, which is basically
but
like
it's not an accident.
A nuclear explosion or something.
It's crazy.
Two of those happen over the course of the film.
Dude, that movie is funny.
Rachel Weisz, Fred Ward.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman gets framed.
You think Morgan Freeman flosses?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, probably. Nice. Man, Chain Reaction. Who has seen that movie?
PG-13.
Gotta see it.
Yeah.
Gotta see it if you're 13 or older.
Before Matrix, before John Wick.
Yeah.
This is what Keanu is doing.
Yeah.
Speed is a better film, though.
Yeah. Speed is definitely a better film.
And that's coming from somebody who hates Jan de Bont films.
You?
No, you hate Jan de Bont films.
Says who?
You said it once.
Well, I don't hate Speed.
Oh, okay. Just Twister.
Oh, Twister's wretched.
Yeah.
Twister's a terrible movie, and Jan de Bont, it destroys his reputation in my mind. I'm no fan of his. But he didn't make all that many. He didn't direct all that many films.
He was more known as a cinematographer for action films. Didn't he do like Aliens or something?
Did he?
I think he did a few. I think he did a couple Cameron films. Yeah.
Speed's good. I saw Speed 2 in the theater.
Oof.
Yeah. Cruise Control. It's nothing to sneeze at. It is, actually.
Sorry. I'm allergic to Novocaine.
So I think if there's one thing to take away, if you take nothing else away from this episode, I think it's got to be, in the interest of transparency, big tenet of this show, the American Dental Association is not a government agency. They're not truly a regulating body. They're an advisory board. They are a consumer advocacy group.
Question for you.
Sort of similar to maybe the MPA or the MPAA it used to be, right?
Yeah.
It's not the law, but it's pretty ubiquitous, and maybe you get some use out of it or maybe you don't.
Would you use a toothbrush not approved by the ADA?
I am 100% sure that I have, because I have bought toothbrushes outside of the country. So, absolutely.
And they don't approve.
Well, they can't be approving everything on Earth, right? I mean, they don't know.
I mean, they could. You know,
There's
like
no
if you're
way.
in China, it's like, well, the American Dental Association approved of this, so it must be good for teeth.
Oh, I think they'd be the global dental organization.
How
at
do you
that
feel
point.
about
association?
How do you feel about fluoride in terms of its, like, I don't know, mind controlling capacities?
Right, making us despondent and so forth.
Are you worried about that at all?
Well,
do you drink fluoridated water?
I think I'm only worried about it. It depends on who's controlling my mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If somebody's got it in good hands, then we Gucci, baby.
If you can pick the person who
In the
controls your
parlance of our times.
if you can pick the person who controls your mind, then it's not necessarily a bad situation.
Right.
You know,
It's
maybe
just
that
kind of
person
sort of outsourcing it.
maybe they
right?
should be in control of your mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think that's all very good points. And I think, keep in mind that maybe it's useful for you and your family. Again, the website you can go to is mouthhealthy.org. They actually have a weird 360 video on their YouTube where there's a mom and a kid brushing their teeth and there's a voiceover, but for some reason the video is 360 and you can drag it around and see a whole bathroom. So you can see like a toilet in the bathroom.
You want my
so you
opinion.
can check it out.
I don't want to watch other people brush their teeth.
Great.
I don't want to see it.
Then the ADA may not be for you.
Okay, great.
Maybe stick with the Kielbasa Council. Keep it local.
Yeah.
I think you were on the board for several years, so
I wasn't involved in the kielbasa scandal.
I didn't say you were.
Oh.
Yeah, I know you're already out of there.
Oh,
Already
yeah.
out of there by
I'm
then.
not a part of that anymore.
Well, anyway, it's been good. It's been good. It's good to talk about serious topics. It's good to drill down, pardon the pun, and really get to the stuff that counts here. Get to the root of the topics.
And this isn't a command, but just an advisement. Drink milk, eat McDonald's.
Do both at the same time.
Do it.
They pair great. I think you can buy milk at McDonald's, right?
You can
must
buy
be able to.
full gallons of milk at McDonald's.
You can buy gallons of milk?
Yeah, supersized.
Whoa. Does it still come in the carton though?
Yeah.
Like the paper carton, I should say, as opposed to the jug.
Paper carton. We love
Paper
to
carton, baby.
We love to see you smile.
Well, thanks, Jimmy.
Not me.
Oh, right.
Broadcast live from our studio in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, The Long Road Home Alone is hosted by Jimmy Dantes and Joey Z and produced by Pat Muldoon. Be sure to tune in next time. Don't forget your reading glasses and keep the change, you filthy animals.